Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Mod Railway. In today's lesson we're going to look to continue drawing on more of the detail for the underframe chassis here. Specifically if we start to look at things like there's these three supporting members here. We've also got 1, 2, 3, 4 extra ones which have got shackles on them, and then 6 rivets here. I've looked at the pictures, there's nothing down the other end really that we need to look at initially. And then we've also got 2 lights and this conduit coming across here. So we're going to start with these 3 supporting uprights to start with. So if we jump into Fusion, and we'll scroll this around to look side on. Okay, so again we'll make sure we've got this radio button checked for crane chassis, so we don't make that mistake again, and we'll look at the plan we've got here. Now on the plan we can see that there's one of the supporting members here, looks like there's another one here, but the one at the front doesn't look to be drawn, or if it is, it's potentially this one right at the very end. But looking at the pictures, it's actually offset by about a foot, so I don't think it's drawn in the right place, or if that's it at all. So one thing I am going to deviate slightly from is if we look top down, I think it was that one. We've got the position of our bend here. Actually, I'm not sure if it's in the right place entirely. I think it might need to be further back, because I think it's going to probably be starting about here where that support member is, and this position here I think is actually the jack. So I think I'm going to have to go back into the sketch and just change this. So I'm going to roll this back slightly to, I think it's this one here, yeah. And I'm going to edit that sketch. I'm just going to reduce this down. Let's try 22mm. Everything beyond that point should still be fine because this is still staying in the same place. I think by moving that back, that enables us now to have this beam here, I think, in the right place, because looking at the pictures, it definitely doesn't look like it's bending at that point. I think it's slightly afterwards. So I'm much happier with that position. Okay, so we'll start off by creating a sketch. Now if you look at the photos, they are level with the front, so we can just sketch on this front face here, and we can just do a simple rectangle to fill these in. So there's one there, and we can define that's, we'll go for 1.1, and the distance from there to there 1.35. We can draw the next one, I think is here. And define that 1.1 again, and the distance Okay, so as I say, on the last one, we're going to have to just really work from photographs, so it looks like it's in line where the jacking post is. So it's about this sort of position here. So if we just draw it roughly there, define that 1.1, and define its position relative to that one, 21.2. Okay, so we've got the 3 posts there. If we just select the faces and then extrude to the back plane here, they will automatically, select that, don't want that, to the distance to, let's keep doing that, join. doesn't really matter too much about distance as long as we go further than 0.8. So for some reason it keeps wanting to select this profile. Not sure why. Okay, so if we turn these sketches off, we can see what we've got now. We've got those three upright supporting members. Okay, so the next thing is we've got these shackles with a post coming down with a little cutout. If we look, see if I can find a better fit picture of those. Okay, so in this picture we can see how it comes down, cuts inwards, and then comes back out again. And they'll also look like they're recessed from the front face. So we'll draw them on the back plate and drag them forwards, and then we'll cut out the side profile, and then we'll pattern it across. So if we have a look on the plans, we can see where they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one shouldn't be too much of an issue, although it will come out slightly. We might have to do something about the front edge of it. So we'll create a sketch on this inside face. And I'm going to create them as new bodies when I draw them, so that it can pattern across the whole of the feature, including the shackle. If we draw that down, look at the width. So I'm going to draw them as 0.3. Let's define its position relative to the end plate, because that end plate is not going to move, I don't think. 10.15. And if we extrude this forwards, so turn this off so we can see what we're looking at there. So we're not going to come all the way forward, so it comes 0.8 all the way forwards. We're going to go, I think, 0.6. Yeah, and then I'm going to create that as a new body initially, and we'll combine these afterwards once we've done all the details on them. Because what we can do now that we've got it as a new body is if we turn that off, turn this crane body off as well, we can now see that we're looking side on. We're not have to look through any of the other features as well as we draw this. Okay, so let's create a sketch on the side. I'm going to recess like this, I think. Really difficult. We haven't really got any sizes, so we're just going to have to do it by eye. Define distance from there to there, 0.5. Let's define that distance, 0.3. And then we'll look at the angles, 45 just so it's clean and easy. 45 at the top. And then define that. Okay, so we can then extrude this across. So we've got that recess now. Okay, so the next we need to draw is the D shackles. So if we just jump back into Fusion, they're in this position here. So we'll create a sketch on this face initially. So the initial circle shape looks like it's quite a large one to start with. I think it's like a smaller bolt through the middle. So it's probably going to be about 0.5 millimeters. And we can extrude this forwards. About 0.4, maybe 0.5 millimeters. Let's go 0.5 because we've got to get the D shackle to come round. So I'll do 0.5, and then we'll mirror them across in a second actually, because we'll draw a small one first, and then we'll mirror it. Draw that one the end, small circle. How small does it look? About 0.25, about half the diameter. And we'll extrude that. It doesn't come as far forward as looking at this. I'll just bring that maybe 0.2. and then if we do mirror those two features, take them to features, and then put it onto, we need to put a mid-plane. Cancel that. We put a mid-plane in here first. Construction. Mid-plane between there and there, and then we can mirror those across. Okay, so we've now got that. Turn the mid-plane off. Next thing is we need the shackle to come down and round. Okay, so the next thing we need to do to draw this shackle is we're going to use a different construction plane to what we've done previously. So we're going to use axis through cylinder cones, and then we select the face of the cylinder, and that puts an axis all the way through the center. And then we can use a plane and angle from that access point, and then rotate that round. So we know that anything we draw is going to go from the center point downwards. You see the angle, I'm going to go for about 85 degrees. We may change this, but we'll start with 85 degrees to have the start point. Click on OK with that. Yeah, so looking at the picture now, the shackle doesn't come all the way down. There is definitely a gap at the bottom, so we can use that as a guide as to how big we can draw. So we'll create a sketch off of this plane. It's already put in the center point here, which is great. That's helping. What we're going to do is draw a line down, and then we need to work out the distance from there to that base. That's 0.25, which is good, because then we know this is 0.3, so we only need to be 0.55 across here. 0.55 there, yep, and then add another 0.25, so 0.8. Just the midpoint there. Good. So then we can draw that down to the same height. Define that down as 1 millimeter. We'll do the same 1 millimeter on the other side. Okay, and then we need to have an arc that goes between the two. So we can use a 3-point arc. Let's see how that looks. So they're putting tangent positions in as I drag this down, it's snapping to tangent. Okay, so I'm going to go with that for the moment. And then the next thing I'm going to do is use the pipe tool. I don't want chain selection, I'm just going to go around the 3 sides like that and tell it to join. I'm just going to increase this, I think, to 0.35 because I want it large enough that it's going to be chunky in print. Now you can see that that's probably too long, so if we come back into the sketch, let's change these to 0.8, that one's 0.8 as well. Okay, we've got a gap there. 0.35 could be too big. Let's try changing that. It probably is too big, it's probably overscale. Let's go 0.25. Okay. So that's drawn. It could become an issue when it comes to printing it because you're going to have this bit here as an island. So I'm just wondering now whether it might be worth making it actually just dig into here so that it will print better and then it won't need to be supported. Now it won't look like this, it won't look as defined, but it probably mean that we won't have to support it, which will mean this actually looks cleaner as it comes out. So it might be actually worth going back in here and just changing these back to 1. Ooh. And 1 there. And as that's now touching here, when that prints, because that will be supported, it's not going to have an island. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to go with that one. Okay, so if we compare this to the photograph, we're not far off, really. These may be a little bit long, but if we do them shorter, this gap will be too small. It'll just fill up with resin. I think we're going to go. Let's have a look at how it looks with the body attached to it. That looks actually not too bad. So we'll pattern these across now. So if we bring that initial drawing back up, and we can do the rectangular pattern, and we can do features, and then actually if we do bodies, then it will do the whole of this body here. So if we select that one there, we can select direction and just change it to just 2 of them. Okay, so you can see that's there. Yep, I'll do the same again, make sure it's set on bodies. Select body 2, direction's the same. I need 2 of them. That position actually looks quite good there. And we'll do 1 more. Now you can't do them all at the same time because there's a difference in spacing. So you have to do them like this individually. Direction. And then across. 2 again. Okay, so now we've got our 4 shackles there. What we want to do is get them to join to the same body so that they're all sorted. So combine tool, target body is target body is body 1, and then tool bodies. We hold shift down as we select 2 to 5. That then joins them all, keeping them with body 1. Okay, so the next thing I draw is the rivets that are here. So we'll create a sketch on this face again. And we'll do the same as we did before, we just pattern them. So we can have it roughly in line. We can't have it in the right position because obviously we're going to have to overscale the sole plates here. So we'll have it roughly in the right position here. There's 0.3 to our rivets, and we'll define that height there. So it's 0.3. Extrude that out, 0.5, and then fillet the top off, 0.5, and then we can pattern it. So if we features, I'll select them 2 down here. Direction is upwards. So we can do 3 up. We're going to have to do about there and 2 across. Okay, happy with that. And the next one needs to be in this area here, so we can just do that pattern of the features, which includes the pattern. Select direction, drag that across. Now again, they're not on the drawing particularly well, but if we look at the photo, they're to the side towards the jib end of the last of the beams that we drew. So we're going to put them in here like that. So we've now got those rivets drawn. Okay, so now we're looking at these bits of detail here with the light with the electrical conduit. I'm actually thinking I'm not going to draw the electrical conduit because I think it's just going to get lost in the sole bar. We've already got quite a bit of detail going on in here, and I think the time it prints it's going to be so small that it just won't won't be shown. So I am going to put the lights in though, and I will put this box here just so we've got the relief from that. So we'll start with a box, which we know is next to the second shackle along from this end, and it was on this side of it. So create a sketch on that face. It's going to be pretty much right at the top. I'm going to just create it. I'm going 0.6mm square. Yeah, we'll go with that. Extrude this forwards. I'll come forward 0.5mm. And then next to it, slightly lower, we've got a light. Now we know we can copy these over. So if we go back into here, put a sketch on there. We'll start with a rectangular shape. Let's call it 1.2mm. In fact, let's not define it because we're going to, I think, curve off the edges. Yeah, they're all curved, so we'll then hold down, select, we select these. Let's change that to 0.3, 0.4. And we'll do the same on the top here. 0.4. Define distance between them 0.8, because that, why has he done that? Weird. Constraint is looking, I wonder which one it is. Yeah, okay, 0.79. Yeah, okay, so that's going to give us a tiniest little bit up here. They're overlapping now. There they are. Let's go in 0.7. Nope, double way. 0.8. Yeah, they're not overlapping now, that's what we want. 0.82 there. Height wise, we'll go from top to bottom. 1.3mm. And then we can extrude this forwards. Come forward 0.6. And if we look at the shape, they're also domed inwards as well. So we can then do fillet, make sure tangent chain's turned on, and drag that in like that. If I turn this canvas off, you can see the shape that we've now got. It sticks forward slightly, but it's all rolled in top bottom. Okay, so we've got this. What we can then do is we need to copy that. So that's going to go forwards just in front of the next shackle. So it's going to be here, next to the rivets. Okay, so if we rectangular pattern, features, and select rectangular pattern, select those two features. Let's try again. That's called press fillet. Help. So that and that. Feature wise, direction. That way, we need two of them. It sits in here. I think I'm happy with where that's sitting. Okay, so we've now got them lights. Okay, so now realistically on this detail wise, the last thing you've got is these 3 handbrake wheels potentially. Now you've got a choice really. You can either draw them onto the body, recessed enough so that they're not going to have any islands, because they would be too difficult to print this floating. I think it would just break apart because it's only going to be what, 1.5 mm maybe across, and this one's probably only 1 millimeter. So the detail wise they'd be pretty small. So you can recess it onto the back plates here. The option I'm going to leave them off, and then potentially look at seeing if I can get some extra brass ones to put in place, which I think would give a better, cleaner look there. Detail wise, I think we're pretty much there on the detail. I think these are builders plates. I think they'd be better to do those as transfers rather than trying to have a raised feature, because the text is so small anyhow that it wouldn't print particularly well. So I think they're going to probably be better to have them as transfers. I'm not sure what these 2 little white things are. They're potentially some sort of stopcock or something. But again, detail wise they're quite small. I don't think that you're going to notice them if they're not there. I'm going to leave those off and say that we're pretty much done with the detail within the sole bar here. So I'm going to call that a lesson. I'll call that the end of the lesson. So hopefully you've enjoyed watching today's video. If you have, please press the like and subscribe buttons. Thanks for watching.